what helps me to manage my time is deciding where my priorities lie. There's no, this person is a professional in time management. No, we are learning every day. So I have enough time to calm down and think. Delegation of duties to people. It's because I started delegating duties that I was able to create my online schooling brand.
When you even delegate, you're able to put in more time into developing what your brand is. Welcome everyone to another episode of Daily Bread on HO3, where we share tips and tricks to help you succeed in career and, well, life in general. Today we'll be juggling a big one. This is a topic that affects a lot of us and would affect a lot of us. We're talking time management. Many of us juggle projects, roles, multiple ones, and it can be very difficult, right, for us to balance those projects, which is why we're going to be talking about it. And the person that will be helping us navigate this tricky topic is the one and the only Miss Grace Anuforo.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. So I know that you're doing a lot of things. You're making sure that to the best of your abilities, people get quality education. You're championing gender equality. I see you everywhere, right? And running a whole school. So my question is, how do you manage that? How are you able to put everything together and make sure that the system works?
Well, I would say that what helps me to balance or manage my time is deciding where my priorities lie every time, every day. It's not a long time thing. Like, it's something that happens every day. So I have to decide what priority I have to focus on for the day or for that period of time.
Okay, so if you're saying priorities, how do you now structure these things? Because then for the average person that is juggling, say, 3 roles, everything usually links up one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Even if there is one that is completely detached from the other, you still need to figure out a way to balance it. So how do you actually structure your schedule with like the multiple things that you do?
Okay, thank you. So for me, I have my average day.
Yeah.
I have 3 things I'm doing, 3 roles. The first is usually my professional job.
Yeah.
That's the school administrator aspect of my work.
Yeah.
Then the second has to do with managing social media of the school. Okay. And the third one has to do with online schooling. I have an online schooling brand, by the way.
So 2 schools, in other words.
I know, right? So for that, I have Google Calendar. I use my Google Calendar app to schedule the classes I would have for the day, for the online schooling.
Yeah.
Now, for the other aspect, right, I know that every day I have to go to work in the morning to the school. And then after work, I know that, or during work, actually, I know that I have to ensure that I am posting a content on social media or engaging with our followers so that we can, so that's how it works for me. I just know that this is what I have to do every day. So except for the online schooling where I do the Google's calendar scheduling. That's the only thing where I schedule.
Which brings me to wonder how you balance the online schooling and the actual live schooling, because those students, real life, they need you, but the online ones also need you. So how do you balance it? Where's the time?
I get that question a lot. So you know what? I'm actually very lucky that all my online students have different time zones.
Okay.
So for the most part, in fact, all of them have classes. So where 3 p.m. Nigerian time is their own, maybe 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And then for those in the UK, it's the same time. So the kids come back from school. Over there, after they come back from school, maybe 1-2 hours, then they come into class. So at the time they are leaving school, we're also leaving school in Nigeria. Okay. So it works for me. So I know that morning time is for physical school, while afternoon from 3 p.m. till 9 p.m. is for online schooling. So I balance it well.
Okay, so basically, in that of, say, 24 hours a day, you only have like 3 hours to yourself.
You get, or less sometimes.
I'm puzzled because I don't know how you're surviving that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, in all of this, I'm very certain that there are times where you feel overwhelmed and you just want to run away. Because I know that even me with say, one major thing and maybe another side thing that I'm doing, there are times I'm like, I just want to run away. Someone should just kidnap me. Let me just take a break from real life for a minute. So, how do you deal with burnouts? How do you, what are your coping mechanisms?
Okay, thank you. So, one, people see me outside and they think I'm a hard girl. I'm not. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes when I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, when is this going to end? Like, when am I going to start enjoying? When am I going to start relaxing? I just cry it all out, one. Secondly, sometimes I just take time off. For example, if I'm not within Nigeria, within Shagam, within Ogun State, I usually travel for fellowship opportunities, and other programs that are fully funded by international organizations. So going outside the country for these, even though it's work somehow, but it's relaxing work.
Of course, I get
So we'll
that.
just have seminar, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours in the day, and the rest of the day, myself and my colleagues take ourselves out.
Oh,
so that's the time I used to, because if I'm in Nigeria, I can't take a break. I will feel like I need to be at work.
Yes, there's always something that needs to be happening.
But if I'm not here, you guys will handle your wala yourself. I beg, leave me.
Max, they text you, you give them a reply, but you're not actively hands-on.
I'm not actively, yes. So that's the time I know that's the time I have, for myself.
Like you said, taking breaks is actually very important, and it's good that you have ways that you sort of, because I was actually going to ask you, as someone that advocates for a lot of social causes, especially in relation to gender. Equality, there has to be a way for you to take some time out in all of that. So it's great. Now, with all the multiple things, all the multiple hats that you wear, do you have any practical tips that you can give the likes of me to how you balance your time and how you just rotate everything and make it work? Any practical tips?
Okay. So the first will be, depending on how much of work you have to do, delegating. I struggled with this for the longest of time. For years, I felt like I'm a perfectionist. So I always saw it as nobody can do this thing the way I would do it. So I will do this one, I'll do that. I will enter class, teach. If a teacher is doing it and I'm not, I feel like I will wait, then I'll take over. Then that one is there, then I'll leave that one again. I'll go and do social media creation. After that one again, I'll do this. I'll go and, it was crazy. And at some point, people started looking at me like, are you okay? Because at some point, I was having lots of breakouts. I will have discoloration. I was looking all
pale, just like you're suffering.
You get. And I started to realize, okay, you are not going to kill yourself. At some point, you have to give, Then also, let me say I was trying to be economical. So where I was supposed to pay people to do certain things, I would say that I want to do it myself, right? So, but then now that I have realized that delegation works, now I have enough time to develop more projects, right? I have enough time to calm down and think. I have time to, it's because I started delegating duties that I was able to create my online schooling brand. So I would say that delegation of duties to people, spend the money. You're making it. Let your money bring in more money for you.
Yeah. The fact is, when you even delegate, it's easier to make more money because then you're able to put in more time into developing what your brand is.
That's exactly why I was able. Now I make more money from my online schooling brand even compared to Bethany, the physical school. So
amazing.
And that's because I have handed over to one or two of my teachers to do certain things there, and as well as my organization, my non-profits. I have people that manage our websites. I have people that manage our social media accounts, so I don't have to do all that. So
that makes sense. So with everything that you've said, obviously you have a passion for community and advocacy and just So your non-profit and any other initiative that you're into in sense of advocacy, how has it helped you shape time management for yourself? Okay. Because many people say, oh, I can't do this because I'm working. I can't do that because I'm working. But then there's usually always a way. So have those things actually helped in shaping your time management?
I would say yes, it has helped me.
Yeah.
For example, the last project we had on it was a literacy project for girls in marginalized communities.
Yeah.
Now, before that project, I would normally just be at the school there from 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. sometimes to 2 p.m., 2:30.
Yeah.
But after we had the project, it was like my mind opened to more possibilities, right? Where we can have the school as a school for the elite, where people can afford to pay the school fees. At the same time, we can have one or two selected girls or beneficiaries of our project who are doing very well from the project get a sponsorship at the
Okay.
school. Now, with that happening, I was able to, because of that, I was able to develop, what's it called? And I decided, okay, for us to make this happen, we need to have a proper website, right? We need to have a proper content around female education.
Yeah.
Which is why I now decided I wouldn't be able to do that. How about the way I used to do the social media management thing for the NGO, before? I just do it normally. But how about I do something, I get somebody who is actually professional in advocacy, developing content based on advocacy. So that made me get somebody to do the job. Also, when you want to apply for funds to run your nonprofit, they will ask you for your, I'm trying to get the word, and financial report.
Okay.
Right? They will ask you for financial report. They will ask you, do you have staff that you're paying and all that? And we don't have staff.
Okay.
And even if we're going to have our financial reports, there's no money coming in and going out of that account.
Yeah.
Related to the non-profit. So I had to ensure that I have people on payroll that are getting that, so that there's a track record of money coming in and going out.
Yeah.
So that being said, to cut long story short, I was able to delegate duties and have more time to create more projects around female education. So I'll say yes, it helped me.
Okay, so in the long run, you were able to take out of what you do from your social community advocacy into your professional job. That's awesome. I'd also like to hail you because of your flexibility, because I think it's not just about organizing everything and arranging everything. You also need to be flexible, because I'm certain that there are times where something urgent, an emergency will just come up and you'd have to deal with it, or they'll just call you and say, one student decided to go and throw her head somewhere or something just weird like that, and you'd have to deal with all that while still running, multiple jobs. That's well done, ma. That's all I say. But then, would you have any tools? I know you mentioned your Google Calendar that we can use to stay organized. Is that the only one?
Yes. Yeah, I have the notes. My phone has a note app that I use as well, but the Google Calendar works best for me. It just, it has automatic reminder. I can track, even on my phone, I can track the next thing I have to do on it. There's a space for appointments there. There's a space for meetings. So, and for every of them, for every event, for every appointment, I have a reminder. So it's the best,
easy to use, basically.
For me, to track my.
Okay, so simple but effective.
Honestly,
that's all that matters. Nobody's looking for anything that will complicate life even further. That makes sense. Now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions because, I want to just know how things work in your mind, in the mind of somebody that is a superwoman, right? First question: what's one thing you never start your day without?
That would be my Bible.
You took too much time to answer that.
That would be my Bible.
Bible.
Yes. Because before this year, it was this year I started being moved closer to God. Before now, I never really, I'll just wake up, do normal, Father, thank you for waking up this morning, thank you. Sometimes I don't even remember to pray. I'll bath and go. But the moment I started getting intentional, I noticed that lots of things changed. I was able to, it's like my thought process just, there's this, I'm not scattered anymore, right? I feel like there's some sort of supernatural interference in helping me plan my day. I feel like somehow And then the word actually, I get something for my day from the word.
Yeah.
For
okay.
example, what I read yesterday had to do with worries.
Come here. Sorry. What you read?
What I read yesterday had to do with worries, having not to worry. And we've had a challenge at the school where that has been keeping me worried for a very long time. So when I read that, I was like, okay, like, why have you been? And so between yesterday and now, I've not had any reason to worry. In fact, I just tell I still told the kids today, guys, we're getting a school bus in January, a very big one. And they're like, yay. I just said it. I don't know what made me say it. Normally, I wouldn't say such. But since yesterday that I read that scripture, so that's the first thing that I do. I don't miss it.
Peace in the storm. Yeah. Next question. What's the biggest distraction when you're trying to work?
Social media.
Of course. Of course. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I had to get Apple. I don't know about Android phones. I'm an Android phone lover. You guys, don't get me wrong.
You already shalaye,
And I know Android phones have it, but for my phone, I use the time limits app.
Okay.
So because one of the companies I work for as an online teacher is a Turkish company.
Okay.
So they just chat you up. Hi teacher, are you going to be available at 4 p.m. African Nigerian time today? I'll say yes or no. Or most times I say yes. So if I'm not always on my phone, I will miss these opportunities.
Text, yeah.
So sometimes I'm teaching and I'm checking, I'm just like this, I'm checking. If I don't have time limits, as I'm checking if Turkish people have sent me a message, Facebook notification will come up and I'll say, let me quickly check. And it distracts me. So I had to get time limits for my apps.
Okay. Then my last question for you is, when do you feel the most productive? What time of the day?
That will be after my classes in the midnight. I have classes between 12 a.m. and 3 p.m. So after the 3 a.m. So after the 3 a.m. class, I start what I have to. And I'm usually very productive. Something I would usually do within 5-6 hours during the normal hot day.
Yeah.
I do it within 2 hours. 3 to 5, I'm done. I just take 1 hour sleep and then...
I'll take you back a little bit. You teach between 12 midnight and 3 a.m. President General among the...
My sister.
Let me realize. That's awesome. But yeah, I understand. For many people, they're actually more productive very early in the morning. So it makes sense that you're productive. Because this Nigerian weather doesn't help anybody's brain. It doesn't help anybody's brain. Okay, now how do we link this back into the conversation so we can conclude? Okay. So this is where you talk about Ciela. Okay. So I said, let me relax. That's what I'm putting from. You can choose to remove this. Yeah. Grace, your journey is so inspiring, right? It's many people turn a blind eye to some of the things that you advocate for. You decided to pursue girl education and gender equality. And I'd ask, why did you decide to start this journey?
You see that particular question?
There's not.
Plus bashers in quotes.
Yeah.
What I mean by bashers is
critics.
Critics and people that just want to talk, and then people that are actually concerned. Yeah. I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
So, well, I would say that my mom, or let me say my background, inspired it. So I grew up with in a family of 4 girls and my mom and dad. And growing up, I saw my mom do the basic things that any adults, paying bills. So it was like a norm for me. Even when my dad couldn't do much financially, my mom stepped up. It was a normal life for us. So coming out of the house as an undergraduate student in University of Ibadan, I started to see something different from what I was used to. I saw my female colleagues, classmates talking about boys getting them their boyfriends or boys getting them phones. That time it was BlackBerry, and all that. I'll hear people talking about females talking about how after the moment we finish 400 level, they just want to marry. I'm not saying marriage is wrong, but it was weird to me. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, is there no more to life? Don't you want something, why do you have to wait for a boy to do certain things for you, right? And I also saw that for some families where women really wanted to do stuff, they couldn't do because they didn't have it. But I saw my mom do practically anything she wanted.
Yeah.
My dad was not around. She would pay the bills. Nobody knew anything because, so it was a thing for me. And before I knew it, I started to talk about it on campus. I remember vividly, I was in 300 level when one of my classmates said, "Grace, are you a feminist?" And I'm like, "What's feminist? I don't care. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not a feminist, but I know what I'm saying." So that was the first time I heard the word feminist.
And it's the way they ask with a condescending tone.
You get.
Are you a feminist?
So I was like, whatever you are saying, I'm not.
That's not your business.
So, but when I got to the hostel that day, I checked what's feminist, and I was like, okay,
you are this, so this is what you are.
So I've always had that. I just want every woman to be like my mom. Because of how my sisters and I went to the best schools. Because of how we are employers of labor today. Because of how there are so many things that 4 of us are doing, And so I picture every day, every time, every morning when I pray.
Yeah.
I picture an Africa where women are like my mom. That's what I say. Imagine a home having a woman like my mom. The children would turn out the way my sisters and I have turned out. You know. So that's just the inspiration behind this whole thing.
Everybody wants to have a mother that inspires them to be better, a mother that inspires their strength. And I think that's the story for a lot of African children. It's just that many people want it easy. They want the shortcuts. So yeah, it's important that people realize that shortcuts end up becoming longer because they end up relying on somebody that may or may not be able to help you out. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be the one to make the way for yourself. So yeah, I totally understand that. So you're saying that was what triggered you to start the Graciela initiative?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you been running that for?
So the main trigger, that wasn't what actually inspired TGI. The main trigger was when I went for my NYSC in Edo State.
Okay.
And I saw how mothers were, what do they call that word now? Trigger warning, pimping their girls, their daughters. Then you also find that fathers sleep with their daughters or maybe rape. And word gets out, the police arrests the man. But instead of the woman to allow it, she's
protecting the man, saying he did not do anything.
Like, those things were irritating to me. I was like, what is going on here? Like, I was so irritated. And then I had my female students, because I've always been a girl child mentor from the very onset, from the very get-go. So I'm very approachable. So the girls talked to me about these issues. And so I felt, okay, I think I need to hold a stakeholder meeting in this Edo State before I go, at least. So when I was wrapping up, I organized a conference, or let me say, some sort of small conference, bringing mothers together, fathers, and school owners, because they were also stakeholders in these issues, as well as some of the girls and the boys, because the boys, needed to be there. So that was the first. I remember that the king gave us the civic hall or civic center, hall, I think, something like that. And that was how TGI started. That was in 2016. Yeah, 2016, March. I remember vividly. So between 2016 and now, it's been a roller coaster ride. So yeah, and that's how we did that. And then we went further to register the non-profit. And then I had a partner. He was when I mean partner in the non-profit. He was also a core member like me, Hamed Kayode Alabi. So now today he's the vice president. I'm the president of the organization. He is the vice president, but we did it together, and together we grew our tentacles. We brought in people from Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, all of them, 8 countries, Botswana, madam. Anyways, all of them, 8 countries altogether. So we don't have to travel to these countries. They do the thing over there. Most times we do our stuff online, It's just a way to leverage technology to do.
So
this
that's
project.
8 countries.
So 8 African countries.
8
So we
African
want to
countries.
get to
It's
more
going to be
countries.
spread beyond continents now, and that this kind of thing, you don't stop there. That's amazing work, very inspiring. Now, just like me, there'll be people that would watch this, people that are in the same field, in the education field, people that are even outside, entrepreneurs, business owners that just want to know how to juggle things, how to keep their head in the game and just keep going. So what advice do you have for them?
Well, before I answer that question, I just wanted to mention the 3 things that TGI does, just for clarity.
Yeah, okay.
Because it will help me answer that question.
Yeah.
So one would be the conference I mentioned, which started TGI, the annual Girl Child Conference, where we gather girls as well as stakeholders and let the girls understand what they have in them, because many of these girls don't get it. Some of them will tell you, when there's a boy to do it for, when there's a man to do, why do I have to stress? Why do I have to use my brain when I can get...
Sorry, that statement you just made is so important, because then even these men are under so much pressure.
You know?
Like, they are under so much pressure.
So we're
Give them
helping
a
them.
break. Help yourself as a girl. That's what do you mean when there's a
Why?
man to do?
So, when I talk to someone, I'm like, don't you want to do something for yourself? Like, why do you want to be like, I don't want to be dependent on anybody. I don't want somebody to have to I don't want to have to wait for somebody before I can get
Take
something.
a step. Yeah.
So I don't get it. So this conference, basically, the last one we did we had to let them understand their identity. If you don't know your identity, you won't, there's nothing anybody wants. If you like, they should give you money to start business, nothing. Because you don't believe in yourself. You don't have that identity. So that conference does that. Then the second thing we do is give girls education, scholarships. We have girls in, what's this place? This northern community. I don't remember the state now, that are on scholarship under our NGO. We also have girls at Bethany under our NGO scholarship. So we do this for the marginalized girls. We want to ensure that they have basic education for free. The outstanding girls, and we are getting to a level where we're going to have a big hostel, so that we can have not just girls in Ogun State at Bethany, not just girls in the north at that place, but girls from anywhere across Africa, that do not have, they are the messes of men. And if they don't do what these men want, they will not get what they want, maybe education. We bring them, we take care of them, they go to school. So that's the vision, long-term vision. And the last one is the empowerment project. We do an empowerment project every year, where we give young women trainings and then link them up with organizations that will take them as interns. Okay. So if you learn bag making, we look for an organization that does bag making. So after training you for 2 days, you go and join the organization to continue interning there, for a few months. So those are the 3 things we do. And linking to this question where you said, how do you balance, right? For people that have, so like I said, determine what your priorities are at every point in time, right? Yeah. If you can do that, you are able to now know, okay, what comes first? Which one should how do I do this first? What do I do first? And secondly, understand, you need to understand your vision. Otherwise, you are going to, it's like when wind is carrying paper. Yeah,
literally.
So if you don't understand your vision, if you don't understand your purpose, why exactly am I doing this? Because at these days, everybody wants to have NGO. I want to shine.
Thank you. I'd interrupt you there by saying that one of the reasons why, as a person, I have not immersed myself into any NGO, any of all these charities that I see. Like, I may participate from the outside a little, but I have not immersed myself, is because I have not seen, it doesn't sell the vision that I want. I know I'm going to start one someday, but I have not gotten to the place where I can yet. And I have not seen one that carries that vision. But a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, I want to help the needy. If you just start, you're just going to start, and like you said, you'll be like paper that wind is carrying. So yeah, very, very solid advice. You already talked about delegation, you talked about prioritizing, and now we've mentioned making sure that you have a purpose, making sure that you know what it is that you are after, and so that you'll be able to go after it steadily.
Straight on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. As we wrap up, I'll let everybody know that time management is not something that you'd master in a short time. Every day you learn and you unlearn some things. This system was not working for me before, and so I have to start doing it the other way, so that you're not bending over backwards. Although sometimes you have to bend over backwards to get what you want, because but to make sure that you're not bending over backwards and you're making progress. And I think I'd also want people to know that it's okay to take a couple steps back sometimes. Like, it's okay to just reverse a little bit before you now push forward. If not, you need that push that you get from taking a step back. So don't kill yourself. Jeje laye. For those that speak Yoruba, take it one step at a time, and we aspire to be like Miss Grace here. Once again, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. So, like you said earlier, you mentioned something about time management being it's not a one-day thing, right? You know, I told you that I struggled with this for years before I started getting it right this year. I think it's this year I started getting it right. So imagine being in this system, this business for 6 years, and it's just, you know,
it's on the 6th year that you finally figured out how you're doing it.
So it's every day, you know, it's every day that I have discovered over time how to manage. There's no this person is a professional in time management. No, we are learning every day, you know. So it's basically an everyday thing. We discover how we manage our time. We discover what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So everyone should take it slow, and like you said, reverse,
then
calm down,
accelerate. And accelerate. All right, thank you so much. All right, guys, remember that time is one of your greatest assets, so try to manage it wisely. Ask people for advice if you need it. Pray to God. I know some people are gonna fight me for this, but pray. He really would help you navigate, and just protect your time wisely. Until next time, see you on Daily Bread.